Welcome back to our YouTube channel Aman Codes. In today's episode, we are going to discuss about predefined functions in Dict data type. So these predefined functions are most important while learning about Dict data type. We know that on the object of Dict, we can perform the following operations. So what are the operations we till performed? Getting the value of value by passing the value of key. By passing the value of key, we can get value of value, right? Modifying the old value of value by passing existing value of key. So by passing the existing value of key, we have modified the old value, right? So we can add key comma value to the dict object. So these three operations we have done in previous episode, right? So apart from these three operations, we can perform various other operations by using predefined functions in dict object. So the predefined functions in dict object are, so actually we have 10 predefined functions. Now we are learning 9 predefined functions, and that last 10th predefined function is set underscore default that we'll see in upcoming episodes, right? Let's see the first predefined function of dict data type, that is clear off. So this clear off function we have seen in list, right? So in list, this clear off function will clear the all elements, in a sense remove the all elements from the list. So if we use this clear off function in dict object, it is going to remove all key comma values from that dict object. So let's see the syntax. Dict object dot clear off. See here, the function is used for removing all key comma values from the dict object. So if we call this clear off function on empty dict, then we get the result as space or none. So let's see that. I'm opening Python command prompt. So this is my dict object. These are the key comma values that present in my dict object, right? So I'm going to clear all the key comma values by using the function called clear off. The syntax is like this: dict object d dot clear off. Now I'm trying to print d and its type. See here, d comma type of d. So it is an empty dict, right? So if we call this clear off function on empty dict, so d is empty dict, right? After deleting the all elements, d is an empty dict. Now I'm going to call that clear off function on empty dict. See here. So the result is none or space, right? So there is no result here, space. Or if I want to print the result as none, see here, I want to do this d dot clear in print function. So if I try to do this thing, then it is going to show the result as none, right? So this is about clear off function in dict data type. So if we come to the second predefined function called copy of, let's see the syntax. So dict object 2 is equals to dict object 1 dot copy of. So whenever this copy of a function will come, 99% to implement shallow copy. The 1% is on frozen set. The frozen set, it is going to implement deep copy. So apart from that, whenever we get this copy of function, it is going to implement shallow copy. So this is a syntax copying the content of dict object 1 into dict object 2. This function is used for copying the content of dict object 1 into dict object 2. So dict object 1 content is copied and placed in dict object 2, right? So it implements shallow copy. So let's see how copy of function will work in this dict data type. Now I'm going to declare my D here. See, this is my D, right? So now I'm taking a new object called D1. D1 is equals to D dot copy of. So if I execute this statement, then so the content of D is copied and placed in D1. Now I'm trying to print D and its type and its ID also. See here, ID of what D. So this is D value comes under class dict, and this is the memory address of that D value. So now I want to print the memory address of D1, type of D1 and value of D1. Let's try to execute this statement. See here, the initial content of D and D1 is same, right? Which comes under dict class, which comes under dict class. The memory address is different, right? So this thing refers to, it implements shallow copy. So If I try to change in D object, I want to add key 56 and the value of value is like GMR. Now I'm trying to access DC here. Here we have added 56 and GMR, right? So if I try to access here D1, then this 56 GMR has not reflected in D1, right? So this thing represents it implementing shallow copy. So in order to know what is shallow copy and what is deep copy, I gonna attach a video in iCard. So from there you can watch. So this is a copy of function in dict data type. So not only shallow copy, so we can also implement deep copy in dict data type. So the next predefined function of dict data type is pop of key. Let's see the syntax. Dict object dot pop of key. So this function is used to remove the key comma value. See here, key comma value is going to be removed from that dict object based on the value of key. Whatever the value of key you mentioned, that key comma value is going to be removed from that dict object by using this pop of key function. So if value of key does not exist, then we get an error called key error. See here, if the key does not exist, then we get key error. So now let's see how pop-off key is going to be worked in dict data type. So my dict object d dot pop off. I want to delete a key value called 56. See here. So I given value of key as 56. Then it returned the value of value. For this key, the value of value is this. This has been removed. Now I'm trying to access D. See here. So in this D, there is no 56 comma GMR, right? So there is no key called 56. There is no value called GMR in this D, right? So pop off key predefined function is going to be done like this. So D dot pop off, I want to keep the key as 20. See here, it returns 23. See here, 23 has been retrieved, right? So if I try to access D, so there is no 20 key value and 23 value of value. See here, by using this pop off key predefined function, we are going to remove key comma value from that dict object based on the specified value of key. So the next predefined function on this dict data type is popitem of. Remove the last key comma value from the dict object. See here. Let's see the syntax first. So dict object dot popitem of. This function is used for removing the last key comma value from the dict object, right? So from the dict object, it is going to remove last key comma value. So if we call this function on empty dict, then we get a key error. So in empty dict object, there is no keys are existed, right? So that is the reason we get key error. When we call this pop item of function on empty dict, then we get key error. So let's see how the pop item is going to be worked. Now I'm going to use pop item of. So 1 second. Now I'm going to do like this. D dot pop item of. So D dot pop item of. If I execute this statement, so the last key comma value of this object D is going to be removed. For this D object, the last key comma value is 40 and true, right? This 40 and true is going to be removed from this D. So 40 comma true has been removed from that D. Now I want to do that thing again. See here, 30 and codes has been removed. Now I want to do that thing again on that dict object D. See here, 10 comma 34.56 has been removed. So if I try to access this D, it is an empty dict object, right? See here, D as an empty dict object. So if I do this thing on empty dict object, we are going to get an error called key error. See here, when we call this function on empty dict, we are going to get an error called key error. So the next predefined function in this dict data type is getOff. So this getOff predefined function is most important. Syntax. Value is equals to dict object dot get of key. So what value of key you specified here? It is going to be get the value of value for this specified value of key. Suppose if you have specified the value of key as 10, then the corresponding value of value it is going to be placed in this value object. If I try to print this value object, so then we are going to get the value of value for the value of key. This function is used for getting the value of value by passing the value of key, right? So if the value of key does not exist, then we get the result as none. So, or you can do like this also. Dict object of key. So this syntax gives you value of value by passing value of key, right? So if the value of key does not exist, then we get an error called key error. The difference between this get of predefined function and this normal syntax is that, so if there is no value of key, then it is going to throw none as a result. So if there is no value of key that existed in this dict object, so then it is going to throw an error called key error, right? That is the major difference between this get of function and this normal syntax, right? So let's try to understand in practical way. So now I'm going to declare D here. So this is my D, right? Val is equals to D dot get off. So here value is equals to D dot get off. So inside this get function, I have to declare the value of key, right? I'm mentioning the value of key as 10. So now I'm going to access val. See here, the value of value for the mentioned value of key is 34.56, right? By using this get off function, we can do like this. Without using this val variable, we can do directly also. So the value of key is 20. See here, the answer is 23, right? 20 colon 23. 20 is a value of key, 23 is a value of value, right? So if I do this thing on 67, see here, 67 is a value of key. This value of key does not exist on this dict object D. Then we are going to get an result as none or space. So if I do this thing on print function, see here, if I do this thing like this, print of, so then we get result as none, right? So this is about get off predefined function in dict data type. So without this get off predefined function also we can do, so D of 20. If I do this thing, that 23 is going to be retrieved. 23 has been retrieved, right? So in the place of 20, if I use 30, so then it is going to display the output as codes. See here. So codes has been retrieved, right? So if I specify the value of key as 67, so this 67 was not present in this D object, right? So there is no key called 67. Then it is going to get an error called key error. See here. So we get an error. That error is key error, right? So what is the difference between this normal syntax and this get off function is that if value of key does not exist on the dict object, by using this getOff function, we are getting an result as none or space. So in this normal syntax, if the value of key does not exist on this dict object, then we are going to face an error called key error. That is the major difference between this getOff function and this normal syntax. So this is all about getOff predefined function in dict data type. In today's episode, we have discussed 5 predefined functions on this dict data type. In upcoming episode, we are going to discuss remaining predefined functions on this dict data type. That's all for today's video. I hope you all understand. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to Aman Codes. Thank you so much for watching.